By the breath of your Spirit, inspire us, that in the hearing of your word, we may be filled with new understanding and fresh desire to please you in all we do for the sake of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. This story of a young Jesus, a 12-year-old Jesus, serves as a transition between Luke's infancy narrative and his account of ministry as of a mature Jesus. We don't get any stories of Jesus' first baby steps, or first words, or first birthday party, or first tooth, or his first Little League team. Nothing like my baby book, which is filled with pictures and notes of my first shot, my first words, my first steps, and actually hair and saran wrap for my first haircut. The gospel writers did not seize the day of scrapbooks. I mean, not too long ago, we would have scrapbook parties. It became a huge industry. I'm the proud owner of one scrapbook that I created for my children that took me way too long to create, and I think covered about 3 months of their lives. Luke provides us with one short scene of Jesus' childhood. The people of Israel had waited a long time for the Messiah, nearly 600 years from the time of when Isaiah gave us the words of the suffering servant. Around 1,000 years from the time of the covenant with David, when God promised that his descendants would rule forever. People had been waiting and watching for a long time. At Christmas, we celebrate Jesus' miraculous arrival, which was marked by the singing of heavenly hosts and a star which pointed him out. A musical announcement on a heavenly loudspeaker and a celestial spotlight. Didn't the word of this wonder birth spread quickly and immediately? The shepherds went back to their fields. Didn't they tell the story to their neighbors and friends? The wise men likewise left and surely encountered many people on their travels. This is a long-awaited child announced with heavenly signs. Wouldn't you think that people would be coming to him, lingering nearby, waiting for Jesus to do something? Were not the ancient paparazzi trying to get the latest news on the development of the child born King of the Jews? What do we have here from the gospel writers? Well, from 3 of them, silence. Perhaps we should be grateful to Luke that at least that he included this story in his writing. That when Jesus was 12 years old, that he and his parents traveled to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. This was an annual pilgrimage for the family, and they likely traveled with extended family and neighbors from Nazareth. It was more than 60 miles between the two cities, so this trip would take several days by foot. Clearly, this is a family investing deeply in their religious traditions. Jesus is being raised as a devout Jew. When the festival concluded and the pilgrims headed for home in Nazareth, after a day's travel, Mary and Joseph realized that Jesus was not with them. This was before the days of helicopter parenting and phone apps like Find My Phone or Find Friends. But back then it was common for a large group of family and friends to travel together. So they had every reason to believe that Jesus was with them. So we can't really blame Mary and Joseph for being neglectful parents. And as soon as they became aware of his absence, they searched for him for 3 days and found him in the temple. I can only imagine the terror they felt for 3 days while looking for Jesus. But don't you wonder where they looked for him first? If Brad or Ryan had gone missing at the age 12, I would have started in my neighborhood Star Creek, with the friendly shopping center, with their friends' homes, Sternberger Elementary, the basketball courts. I wouldn't have gone looking at our local church. But there is where Jesus was found, in the temple, talking with the teachers who were amazed by his understanding and his questions. Luke writes in verse 48, when his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother, now sweet Mary, I can only imagine was between tears of fear and tears of frustration, said to him, Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I, we've been searching for you with great anxiety. Jesus says to them, why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house? These same questions face us this week after Christmas, as the nativity scenes are put away, as peace and goodwill fade, and Christmas leaves us wanting so much more. With Mary, we ask, why have you treated us like this? We ask ourselves, we ask our families, we ask the church, and we ask God when our expectations are shattered. And Jesus answers, why were you searching for me? We know where Jesus had gone. He's about his Father's business. But we aren't ready to let go of our expectations and give Jesus to God. We are not ready to accept that Jesus did not come to fulfill our expectations. He is not found in sentiment for the way things used to be or the way we wish things could be. Jesus is about a future. Jesus was born and lived and died and rose to be about God's business of putting an end to our searching by making plain the ways and will of God, even if that means shattering our expectations. I'm guilty of it every year, without fail, during the singing of Silent Night as the chandeliers go down, as the lights from the candle fill this space. I think of all that I expect from God in the year ahead. I still believe that the baby in the manger will come in riding a horse and not a donkey, even though we've read that gospel story so many times. I conjure up all the ways in which I want God to bless this faith community, to bless each of you and your families and my family. And my expectations get shattered because they are of my way and not of God's way. In the temple, Mary expects Jesus to behave a certain way, and Jesus expects his mother to know why he isn't. The problem is that Jesus and his parents have two different understandings of who Jesus' father is. Mary tells Jesus that she and his father had been searching anxiously. The message is plain to any child who stays out all night upon their returning home and greeted with a parent's frantic, "Did you not know that I was worried about you?" But Jesus responds that he's been in his Father's house, about his Father's business. Don't you wonder about the tone of voice in his response to his parents? Was it surprising or scolding? Regardless of Jesus' tone, the tension between Jesus, son of Mary and Joseph, and Jesus, son of God, is heightened. Sure, Jesus returns to Nazareth and is obedient to his parents, but it is clear that his priorities have changed. Jesus' primary concern is not the will of his parents, but the will of God and the mission that God's will entails. It is clear that Jesus must be about the things of God in the places where God is doing what God is doing. Howard Marshall, in a commentary of Luke, describes Jesus' visit to the temple as a temporary unveiling of Jesus' relationship with his Father. It remained a secret epiphany, a momentary glimpse through a curtain into a private room. This conversation in the temple is a glimpse of who Jesus is and what he will be doing. Jesus' first proclamation is found in chapter 4 of Luke, beginning with verse 14 through 21, where Jesus uses the words of Isaiah to claim his mission as bringing good news to the poor, releasing the captives, and proclaiming the year of Jubilee. These are the things or affairs of God that Jesus is going to be about. The good news for us in this week after Christmas is that, like Mary and Joseph, our search has ended. Jesus shows us the way to God. The scary part, perhaps, is that our search doesn't end where we expect. Mary and Joseph searched 3 days for Jesus, and on the third day found him alive and well. But they didn't find him in the expected places, the safe confines of his extended family, or the familiar company of the pilgrim's caravan. After 3 days, Mary and Joseph found Jesus alive and well in the temple in Jerusalem, among the teachers of the law. The very company where it will all end as Jesus is tried and convicted and handed over to be killed. But that's for Easter. For now, Jesus returns to Nazareth. He disappears back into the fabric of his hometown for perhaps 2 more decades. Jesus is in and out of the way place, far removed from the centers of religion and politics, in the company of ordinary people just like us. It is where Jesus continues to grow in wisdom and in years and in divine and human favor. The good news is that this description of Jesus is the description of every child of God, no matter what our age. We will all grow as we respond to God's love. In Christ, we can expect nothing else. Amen. Let us pray. God of Christmas, we come in this season celebrating Jesus in a manger, and now finding Jesus as a 12-year-old in a temple, continuing to give us wisdom in our spirits and in our faith of just who you are. May we keep an open mind and an open spirit. In your Son's name we pray.